about time. So any leaders here, because that's what we all are, would love to come and give me some advice after this. I would really love to be able to hear some of it. But I know I look a little bit crazy, so some of you probably think, oh my God, she really is a drama queen. Why am I wearing this? Can anybody yell it out? I'm just going to get my So bobsleigh does have a profile in Australia, which is good. Can I actually check? Does this actually work, or is it? Yeah.
Handheld. You need it.
Okay. What I thought I'd show you first is actually a quick rundown on bobsleigh, because there's my pilot, her name's Astrid Rajenovic. He's actually a fellow Queenslander, so she's from up here. And she's been doing the sport for 7 years, and she had no support, no backing, no nothing. And she actually contacted me about 6 months ago and said, would you like to get involved in one of the most crazy, risk-taking things? So I know in this room there's going to be a lot of you who have had to give up jobs or other things when you're chasing this risky dream of isogenics, and it's very different. And I challenge you to watch this and come on a sneaky ride with me. Turn it on, it would help. So we're called the Ice Birds.
Making a first ever bobsleigh start of any kind. World Cup, Europa Cup, anything. It is Jana Pittman, former track cyclist, former 400 metres hurdler rather, double world champion in that discipline. She's going from Summer Olympics to Winter Olympics.
Well, with the changing conditions, we should see another improvement. This push should be in the 5s.
Yes, started 6:05, 6:5. And again, Jana, sprinting bent over, pushing something as opposed to stretching out over the hurdles. That's got to be a big difference.
It is a big change from any other sort of running form. When you run with something in front of you, the mechanics do change. You stay in the drive phase for much longer, whereas in the track and field meet, you're only in that position for your first 2 steps.
200s in front from 1100s up at the start.
Tidy.
Yeah.
109.5.
And there were some mistakes in the first run, but she tidies up, she will move in front, and that's again looking better. The sleds are looking more controllable, even though the ice is more slippery, if that makes any sense at all.
114.2 kilometers, decent speed.
So again, a nice looking run, ducks ahead, every 100th of a second counts. 59.04 slide, again nearly 3 tenths better than her first heat effort.
I don't really deserve any of the accolades there, because I really am the big muscle on the back and all I do is pull the brake on. The rest of the time I'm back. But in all honesty, I got to the bottom, and I'm really not supposed to tell this because I'm not going to encourage anyone, because we're actually offering to have someone come in the slide with us, and none of you are going to want to do this after this. But apparently I'm one of the only people who got to the bottom and didn't have to use the bathroom straight away with an accident in their pants. So before I go a little bit further, obviously that's been a great experience in my life, but most importantly, the 2 things that have sort of brought me to who I am today is my first being my incredible little son. You can't probably see him down there. I'm a 6-year-old boy. Life changes. Anyone who has kids here would say it would be the best moment of your life. And the second one is actually this race. Now I only played a little bit because you just said another race before. This is my World Championships back in 2007. It was 7 months after I had my son, so it was a pretty big experience.
Williams, and the outside here in lane 9, USA.
Yes, we beat the States. And in the bobsleigh. I'm the one that was naked, because unfortunately Australians have free to go.
Together as they have been for a whole race, Centre and Williams is in third.
Selena Lashina-Demure, she also had a baby within a year. So it's quite impressive to think that you can have so many women go back to sport. And on that note, I'd like all the lovely women in the room to stand up for a quick second. Does anybody want to tell me what today is?
Australian Women's Day. International
But I think you need to now give all the women in the room a round of applause for being studying medicine now, so we have a lot of it at the moment. And these are the things that I came up with as leadership. And I'm not talking about nothing. We're not going to go into any of them today because most of us here know what it is to be a leader, to help other people in the right direction. True? Yep. In fact, probably a large percentage of us, considering the level we've got to in Isogenics, not me, unfortunately I'm down the bottom of the rank compared to you guys, would already be considered good leaders. Yep. All right. But what does it take to be a great leader? You want to give me an example or tell me what you think? I've given you a bit of a hint in the word here. In? That's right. Taking people with you, exactly. So it's about growing the team around you and making people underneath you believe in themselves as much as you believe in them. And that's one of the biggest challenges we have when we lead a group of people. So today I'm going to hopefully share with you some of the journeys and strategies that I learned throughout my career. As lovely Sandy said, I've had some incredible highs and some right at the bottom there, where I've made a lot of mistakes in both the media and in my own personal career. But the good thing about making mistakes is there's only one way up. Sorry, when you've been all the way at the bottom. You can only fall down as many times as you are prepared to get up. So that's why I carry a nice big heavy. And I did have a Isogenics logo on here initially, and I thought, oh, that looks a bit bad, but I said it gives you weight, so I put it on. Right, so what I was thinking is, as I said, you guys have got a lot of ideas about what leadership is. But for me, and it's funny because I was talking to a few people before this as well, and we're saying that we believe in people. So I actually made this up, so don't laugh. It's what I call cascading leadership, and I think it works really well with the Isogenics model because we are a bit of a tree. And so my definition of this is once we discover the potential in ourselves, so once we can get rid of it and stay, like we said previously, motivated all the time, and once we pass this message on to others, we can really motivate them to be good leaders. And particularly in a business like this, it's exponential growth. If you motivate the people beneath you to motivate the people beneath you, all of a sudden you're around positive people. And when you're around positive people, you can change worlds. So what I wanted to share with you today, this is what my little tree, others and others and others and others and others and others and others, so we keep motivating. What I wanted to talk to you about today in a nutshell is how to affect our own motivation, some of, as I said, some of the lessons I've learned throughout my career, and how to build our own potential and hopefully overcome a few barriers, conquer some fears, and in doing so create a really successful team and a successful personal life. Because I've made so many mistakes, I think even though I'm only 30, I'm a little bit qualified in this area. So this is where we start off. Some of you guys may have heard me speak before, and some of these slides will be a bit repetitive, and I apologise for that. But there's also one thing I've got to ask now. I asked already this call before. I run fast. I now bobsleigh fast. I also speak very, very quickly, so when I start to listen to you, I don't say anymore. I need a volunteer to stick their hand up and say, JP, no, going there, though. We really don't understand what you're saying. I've got one Paul. Can I have someone else in the back if they can't hear me? Brilliant. Thanks. Perfect. So basically, my first question to you all today, you've seen some of my successes, which I've been very grateful to have. But my first question is to you, do you think that we're born this way? Do you think there are some people in this room who are already, especially people in the front row here who have achieved amazing things in their life and their career? Do you think they're born motivated that way? No? Anybody with a yes? Some?
Yeah.
So some people just get given gifts of brilliance. I suppose some of us are a bit more maybe intelligent. Anyway, going forward, basically, you're right. The answer I was looking for is no, because it often comes about that it's lessons throughout life that we learn, and I wanted to actually share a message with you because sometimes you do things and people say, oh, Yana's been successful, she's lucky, she's studying medicine and she's been up stealing pigs and whatnot. And it all came about because of something that happened to me when I was young. And there's two lessons that I'd love to share both with you, and I have no issue, as we were saying, we want to pass the cascading messages down, that you use these messages and also some of the techniques that I use to overcome some of these problems with your group and your team. So This is me when I was little, and I first took up athletics. I don't look like I can run, really, do I? It is what it is. I had an incredible opportunity when I was 13 years old. I made the Australian team to go over to New Zealand to compete for Australia, obviously, with a bunch of kids and go on a big plane. You know, when you're 13, that's a big deal. Getting on a plane, flying to New Zealand was like, yeah, I'm into all my mates, I'm going to New Zealand. Anyway, my dad asked me, Yana, I'm more than happy to pay for the flight, but you have to run around the block twice a week. It's 8 minutes. Do you think I did it? And you just said, yes, of course you did. No, I didn't. So my father actually, my uniform arrived, beautiful green and gold outfit, and all my friends went to the airport, got on the plane, and my poor father sat with me crying my eyes out at home and did not let me get on the plane. At 13 years of age, for a father to do that to you, I thought it was pretty brutal, but it was the most incredible lesson to learn in life. I was the best in Australia. I would have won that championships by miles. There was no reason why you wouldn't, but my dad said, nothing comes easy in life, sweetheart. You've got to get out there and work for it. You've got to have a vision, and unless you can see that goal above in your life, unless you can see that crystal executive level you want to be, you have to set these goals and work for them. They're not just going to be handed to you on your lap. So people aren't necessarily lucky. Yes, okay, there are maybe a few people, but most of us have to work for what we achieve. So a way that I learned this was over the years of learning many, many ups and downs through sport. I learned what's called a dream board. Does anybody know what they are? Anyone use them? Hands up says, oh, that's fantastic. Okay, well, some of this is going to be a bit boring for you. So look at your phone for a few minutes. So this is actually my dream board, and it's worked wonders for me because I get a little bit distracted. I'm going to talk about that a bit later on. And I really need to focus on one big goal. So I have this huge, it's about not quite the size of the screen, but about the size of the screen in my bedroom or somewhere at work or somewhere it needs to be like a really prominent spot in your house. And I start off with a goal in the middle, just a quote for the month. And you know, at the moment mine is, success is in the journey, not in the destination. That's my current one this week. Well, actually it was 3 weeks ago. But the difference with my dream board is, can some people throw me a few things that they put on their dream board? Travel that they've been before, or where you want to go? Where you want to go, okay? Where you want to go, anything else? What you want to achieve? Yep. Okay, what you want in life, is that what most people put on their dream board?
I put red box in the past.
Brilliant. Champion. This is what we're actually here to, what I wanted to explain to you. Well, help, hopefully. One of the biggest things that a lot of the sports psychologists and stuff work with us on is actually putting big positive reminders of how you've achieved things in the past. As humans, we're so busy berating ourselves, we're never advocates of what we've actually achieved. And sometimes when the tough gets going, the best time to look is internally and say, but I've achieved this and I've done this. And every other time I got past this barrier. And even when you've had really hard days, it's those days you wake up and you go, I'm still alive, I got through it. So I always think it's really important to have a section on your board which actually shows your past brilliance. And the next one is, who do you think these people are? You can't really see it very well. You can see it on my, sorry guys. Your family. This is your team, your advocates for you. So if you're not prepared to tell yourself you're great, these people will. So they're the ones that will help you achieve those goals. And the next. These are my motivators. So for example, this was my letter to get into medicine. This is Harold Mitchell. People have heard about him. He's an incredible human in this country. You should get him on Ice Jennings. Yeah. Anyway, I've tried, by the way. My Olympic accreditation for next year. So just things that are going to motivate you. This gentleman here won the Olympics when he was 36 years old, which is a really big motivating factor for me. For you guys, inspirations, people that in our business that have done brilliantly. Stick them on that board because they're a constant reminder of not necessarily you want to be a millionaire, but what these people did as role models for where you want to go. And then your final board. You know, your main goals, the things like we said, I want to be a millionaire, you know, I want to have this many people in my group, I want to motivate somebody today. The things that might distract you, for me, Facebook and Twitter, it's a joke, I just put there because I know athletes are distracted by Facebook and Twitter, apparently ill things. So they do that. Positive distractions too, uni, training, all that sort of stuff, so that every day when I wake up, this is what is presented to me. And so I can never forget what I'm going, where I'm, basically I'm accountable for the things that I want to achieve in life. Second lesson. This is probably the hardest lesson I've ever learned. It came about very quickly. Okay, who here's heard of Kathy Freeman? Who here loves Kathy Freeman? Me. She was my biggest idol. Like, I grew up, I remember I walked past her one day and I just followed in her shadow because I just wanted to be near her. Like, I was like, she's a really amazing woman, and she's achieved, for those of you who don't know, she won gold at the Sydney Olympics in front of a huge crowd. in a hometown with everybody, all the pressure on her. She still made it, and she's incredible. But anyway, I had the opportunity to race her when I was 15 years old. You know, I built it up for weeks. I have a lane next to Cathy Friend. I'm going to go and be able to tell everybody I raced against Cathy Friend. So I get there and I warm up and I'm watching her. She runs around. I'm like, wow, this is so cool. And in the call room, she sits next to me. Like I'm sitting next to my idol, and I'm like, I can't even put my shoes on. I'm shaking so much. I'm like, oh, that's Cathy Friend. Next to her is amazing. Anyway, for some reason, I'm just sitting there and thinking, I'm just going to be so embarrassed. I'm going to lose by 100 metres. Like this, she's going to be so far ahead. Everyone's going to laugh at me. This is just, how am I supposed to overcome this? And I'm like, I'm just going to go to the toilet, you know, splash some water on my face, come back, and I'll be fine. So I get up, and off we go. You know, go to the toilet 1,000 times before you race anyway. So I got to the bathroom, I sat down, I sat, I sat, I sat, I sat, and the race went. I didn't race. I was so afraid of what people would say. I was so in so much fear of what possible future was that I missed the biggest opportunity in my life to run against my idol. And I walked out of the race just to see the gun. I walked out of the core just to see the gun go and everybody else in this empty lane where I should have been. And to this day, it breaks my heart to think of the opportunities I lost. But again, it's a bad situation, and what can you do from it? Never let it happen again. Never let it happen again. Never fear again, because I can tell you what, exactly. Every time I go into that core room, every time I get onto this stage here, or have to greet someone who's a sick child in hospital, I think the opportunity is here. If I miss it, I'm going to regret it far more than the fear or the shame, or every door you knock on, every person you say, come on, join Isagenix, no thank you. It's certainly worth trying than feeling that you don't have that opportunity down the track. I'm just going to go back to my main message. Remember, this is cascading leadership. These are the messages we take back and we talk to our team about. And another little one, hoping, oh, by the way, sorry, just finish that story. I then, 3 years later, became the first person to ever beat Cathy Freeman. And obviously we've become friends since. And this slide is just literally for you guys, for us again, to say, yes, we're going to knock on a lot of doors, and occasionally we're going to get a lot of no's, but the yes isn't worth it. And the worst you're going to look? Big deal, wipe it off. So a strategy that I have learned for things like this, for fear, and I love that Nicola actually introduced previously that fear is something we need to overcome. There's lots of ways you can do it, so please afterwards I'd love to hear what you guys do to overcome fear, but for me I had a great one, and it's actually this little baby. Does anyone know what we do with them? What creates fear and what creates anxiety in our head? Thoughts. Negative thoughts. Negative, ultimately, it's all in our mindset. So what these are is elastic bands, guys. That's all they are. What we do, we take one, I'm going to throw this around the room, there's one for everyone, we put it on our wrists. Because a lot of the time it's just an association. So when that negative thought, so if I was in that call room, that fear, just snap it. What it does is it short circuits that horrible thought to the brain. So before it even takes hold of your thoughts, get rid of it. Get it out, it's useless. What's it going to help? It's only going to make you regret the future because you didn't, process something in the past. So I brought them down because I love them. It's a ball, who can catch? It's going in the middle. Woo! Just take a band, everyone's got one, and pass it around, so you've all got one. So we're now all accountable, and I also believe if you hear one of your loved ones, friends, family or teammates also making negative thoughts, go and flip their band. Right, so just to wrap up, well, just to sum up what I've said so far, and then we're going to go on to the biggest one, which is overcoming barriers. Dream boards, we know that. We need to overcome those anxieties and those fears, and we need to be able to put a vision in front of us so that we know we're accountable. Because when we have that dream board in mind, we know where we're going, and well, elastic band we just did. This is one of our other ISA athletes, Billy the Kid, amazing champion boxer, also in love with the product like me. So far we've covered vision and motivation and facing our fears. This is my favourite part of the talk. So we're going to share our cascading message. We're going to grow our own business potential. Are we now going to be successful in this linear fashion? You almost said yes, Jen. Most of the time you think when you work hard, actually, I'm not overly religious, but you think God should praise and, give you the things you ask for when you work hard, you put everything into it, you're a lovely person, you help everybody else. This is how it should be, shouldn't it? Fairly. Yeah. No reaction. You're not quite seeing what it is.
That's on your knee.
That's my Achilles tendon.
Oh, your Achilles tendon.
Now, the only good thing when you're doing medicine, you can ask the surgeon to film it for you. You can watch it later. Anyway, what I'm basically trying to say is All my life, I've applied those messages. I've flicked my elastic band, I've had dream boards. I have dreamt of winning the Olympic Games every minute of every day and every sleeping moment, and it's never happened. You know, we saw that amazing situation this year where Sally Pearson, our brilliant, another Queensland star, won the Olympic Games. Incredible, bit of a clap for herself. She does the short hurdles, guys, for those of you who, I can't, everything must have been on a rock if you didn't see that, but anyway, I would love to win the Olympic Games, and 3 Olympics in a row I've been injured. So the first Olympics I snapped my knee, the second Olympics I had this operated on, and my third Olympics, and every time it happened within 5 weeks of the Olympic Games, I ruptured my plantar fascia leading into London this year. No matter how hard you work on something, you're going to have to overcome barriers. My second biggest one, all I've ever wanted to be was a doctor. I don't tell this to many people, I'm not telling you, I'm not having people think I'm dumb. I failed my medical entrance exam getting into medicine, and it was heartbreaking to think the 2 things you want in life, all I've ever wanted was to win Olympics, to have babies, and to be a doctor. Can't win Olympics, can't get into medicine, and luckily I got the third one. So, what's the message here? What am I studying? I studied again and again and again and again and again until I passed it. Now I'm studying. So,
Yay!
example of success. You still get to the top, but it's a whole round little journey on the way up. Now, the biggest thing is, we have lots of things we can't control. We can't control if a loved one gets cancer, although we can certainly give them Isogenics and hopefully their journey is a little less difficult. But we certainly can't control a lot of things in life. But one thing we can control is things that get in the way. So I just want to share with you, I love analogies, you've probably worked that out already, but I want to share with you a little analogy. So you're walking down the river, and you see these people, there's a person drowning in the river. So you jump in, you pull them to the side, you chuck them out, you stick them on the side, you give them mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, and you know they're okay, yeah, mate, you're right. And then you see another person floating down the river. So you jump in the water, you pull them over, and you drag them out, and yep, they're sweet. Before you know it, you turn around, and there's another one. A third person in 30 minutes. You pull them out, give them mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Before you know it, here comes a 4th and a 5th and a 6th. In fact, you spend the whole afternoon pulling people out of the river. You're so busy, you don't walk upstream and see who's pushing them in the first place. The story of our lives, right? We're so busily caught up in our own environment, we just don't have the time to sit down and plan and make some actual things that are going to change our lives and get rid of some of the distractions so we can be a bit more clear on our focus and our vision. So, some positive things. I love being pregnant. And the bottom line is, it took away from a year of my training. I love doing my studies, but it's going to take away from my Isogenics business or from my Olympic campaign for bobsleigh next year. These aren't bad things, they're things we need to be aware of and plan. And for me, I had some really bad press. Apparently I was a bit of a naughty girl sometimes. I just said some silly things when I was young. And I also had a lot of problems with eating when I was younger. I actually had bulimia through the early parts of my sporting career, so clearly I don't anymore, because I'm larger than life. But thank you, though. But Isogenics really helped me for that. I know we're not here to talk about our stories, but it is one of the things that I'm so proud to be involved with a company that has really changed my life and given me some real mental focus. Not only has it increased my athletic performance, but it has also really changed my view of myself.
Yeah.
I was 69 kilos in this photo at the Olympics in Athens. What do you think I'm now? 85. So the girls that don't like running, look at the difference in calories, guys. This is 4 shakes a day. Yeah, I'm pretty lucky. Anyway, that was just a bit of fun. So the last thing I'm going to talk to you about today, again, a message that we can share with others, is a neural filing cabinet. Have you had anyone who's heard about that before? Yeah, a couple? Okay, so a neural filing cabinet is exactly as it is. It's basically our subconscious. So the way we program things in our brain will be how we react to certain opportunities and things that we face. So when we have negative things, for example, you might have a downturn in your business for a few months because for some reason something's going wrong in your personal life or in your business life. The way we react to those things will depend on how we've stored information about those similar experiences in the past. So basically, we need to emotionalise the things you've done well. So it comes back to our dream board initially. We need to have those positive things on our board to make us get through the negatives. So when I had those injuries, I didn't give up and retire. When I failed that exam, I didn't give up and retire, mainly because I had such a positive attitude to other things in my life to draw upon to make sure you've got through those bad bits. But interestingly, we can actually do this. Even if you are the most negative person you've ever met, or your friends or the people in your team are really, really negative, we can actually help them program through little techniques to make them more positive. And the way you do this is you need to really be advocates for yourself. So I'm going to do a little exercise with you in a second if I've got time. Do I have time? Yeah. The way we do this is to basically, 90% of the time if something happens and it's great, you go, oh yeah, of course. And if we do something bad, like, oh my God, or maybe not quite dramatic like me, but it might be like, oh shit, I really stuffed this up. This is not something I can get over, or you don't want to tell people about the bad things. So we need to make sure that we give 8 seconds, it's not that long, positive association to things we do well. And this is basically a situation where you go to the mirror when you've done something well in a day, or even if you just need to take some quiet time after something you've done well, and really give yourself a little bit of praise. I challenge you to go home and try this. It's quite an interesting activity. You look in the mirror, you come face up, like your nose right against the mirror. It's embarrassing, hopefully no one walks past. And you say, I really love you, Yana. You have done a great job on this. So for example, for someone getting to this conference, you're not going to, in 6 months' time, remember how much work you did to get here. So you get in front of that mirror and you're like, I'm so proud of you for achieving this. Against the odds, I'm so proud of you. It made me cry the first time I did it, because it was very... Same thing when you just do like I said, 8 seconds. So say, for example, for me it's easy to say, I lifted a PB in the gym. You walk away and you do it 8 seconds, you did it. Instead of just walking away going, yeah, so what happens in this neural filing cabinet is those memories, because the memories at the front are the ones that emotionalise the most, the ones that carry the most weight. Now these emotions need to be the positive ones. Yes, Yana cleaned 100 kilos, because I can clean 100 kilos. Yes, I made it to Crystal Executive. Yes, I made my first $1 million, or whatever your goal is. But you're really proud of them. It might even be, yes, I was a good mum today. Or, yes, I was able to stay on my diet today. But be really proud of yourself. And then when something doesn't go well, just go, no. Flip the band, get rid of that negative thought. So the entire front of your filing cabinet is full of positive, great emotions about yourself. And when you are a happy, proud, motivated person, everything's easier in life. Because that way, you don't have this cloud of negativity and this cloud of distraction surrounding you. And it's the same with your team. You take them home and you say, right, these are little tasks. I want you to 8 seconds that you want to emotionalise a good thing that you've done. I want you to wear your elastic band and snap those negative thoughts out so they're at the back of your brain, that you never think about them. And that when the tough gets going or you come against a fear, you're going to conquer it with positivity and with the stuff you've learned. Because the best lessons to learn in life are the ones we've learned from ourselves, the ones we think that we've done well in. So it's a really easy exercise to do. And I wouldn't say I'm the most positive person, but since I've been doing this and doing these sort of things, I do find that I'm more able to conquer some of the negative things that sometimes come up in life. So, to sort of finish with our stuff, there's just the 3 things that I kind of summed up. So we've got dream boards, elastic bands, and neural filing cabinets. There are 3 real things you can take away and try and see if they have an impact with you. Try the mirror thing. And the 3rd thing, which is the exercise I wanted to quickly try with you, is to tell someone in your team the thing you've done well the day before. So it's very difficult. I'm going to ask you to try. Just turn to the person to your left or your right and share with them something you did well yesterday. Very quiet. Doesn't matter what it is.
What did you do?
It sounds funny, but I actually went on a ride at Dreamworld with a really close friend and we related it to public speaking.
You related it to?
In regards to the nervous
the anticipation. What ride did you go on?
Was it the Giant Drop?
Oh my God.
Yeah, so Carrie Lynn and I went on the...
Oh really?
Yeah.
You know what we should do one day?
What?
Skydiving.
We should. I've done it, but we'll do it again.
Oh, have you done it?
Take you on it.
Poo! I need to do it.
I'd love to go through it again.
Yeah.
How about you, Nick?
Yeah. I think that today's been better than yesterday. Today I have done, I've overcome a few fears today and done a bit of self-promotion.
Yes.
Yeah. And I sat next to Yana Pittman. Yeah.
It's always uncomfortable, as I said, to be advocates for ourselves. So things like these negativity, elastic bands for negativity and dream boards and things bring out that positivity. The 4th thing you could possibly do, which I'm just throwing in, which I said is the mirror thing works as well, is to also write down 3 things every night that you did well that day and 1 thing you want to do better. So there's sort of the 4 things that we do on a regular basis with my sports psychologist. Yep, so the first 3 are already on there, and the 4th one is to write 3 things down you do well, you did well in a day, and 1 thing you want to do better. Now that doesn't mean that you say, oh, tomorrow I'm not going to eat this. It always has to be positive. Remember, we don't emotionalise anything negative. We'll say something like, tomorrow I'm going to go out and tell my mother I love her. Something like that. Something that you would like to do better because maybe you didn't say it enough that day. But we always put it in a positive light, never in a negative. And please try the mirror thing. It'd be really interesting to get some feedback from you guys for staying here. Come and tell me tomorrow if you tried it and what it made you feel like. It'd be really interesting. So, again, the final note really is all these things are about making us better so that we can make the people in our team better. Cool? Pretty easy message. Alright, and if we do these things, guys, thanks very much for having me.